right, hi everybody, how you doing? I am Johann, that is Charleston. Joining us today, we have a fantastic, I'm very lucky to call a friend of mine from many years ago back in Saskatoon, but this man has had an incredible story. One of the stories of a good Saskatchewan business that's really thriving, booming, and hopefully you're gonna see it all across Canada and hopefully North America pretty soon. But joining us from Saskatoon, I call him a good friend of mine, Mr. Yohannes Petros. Johannes, how are you doing today? Of Haynes Hummus. We are representing today.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? So good to be here. Nice to see you, Johann. Charleston, nice to be here as well, and with your audience. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get the party started. Can you see my little notes?
I see you got a little note. You got a little sticky notes up there just in case. So, now I'm not gonna think you weird when I see you looking one way and going like this.
Are those show notes, or are those your like what you got to do lists for the rest of the week here?
That's my to-do list for the rest of the week. Yeah.
Oh man, I thought it was show notes. You was reminding me of like when I'm in college, university, you got to do this presentation and everybody got their cards and everything ready. And I knew I wasn't that kind of guy that'll sit there and keep reading from a card and looking up at the same time. So I used to just throw all the cards and just go up and just straight freestyle it the whole time.
That's okay too.
Let it come right out, come straight from the heart. That's what I say.
For sure. And that's what it'll be about today.
That's good. Yeah, right from the heart, and that's something we'll Johannes, let's get right into it about how. Like, I love the branding. You gave us some of these shirts to be able to wear on TV. How the hell did you get started in this business with hummus in Saskatoon? How did that all come about and play out?
Yeah, so today when I posted on my Instagram story, I threw up a couple hashtags, hummus in Saskatchewan, and then with a laughter emoji. And the two, often confuse people. It's just not something that people associate with Saskatchewan. But I used to live in Vancouver, and I started making hummus for myself, and then began sharing it with friends and family. I ended up moving back to Saskatoon in 2010, and my cousin was working at a small cafe. And she took some with her, and her coworkers tried it, and they asked her where she bought it, and she told them that I made it. And they were just floored by how good it tasted, and they said, "We need to have this here." And so I began selling it to that cafe. That became my very first customer, if you wanted to say. Then what ended up happening was the customers from that cafe ended up contacting me saying, "Hey, we tried your hummus at this place. Will you sell it to us?" So I began selling hummus out of my home, and that was really that's the beginning.
Holy, that's nuts, man. I'm pretty sure if you making this out of your home like that, and depending on how often the clientele comes and how much do you have to replenish it? Like, how many chickpeas do you have in your fridge at that point in time?
Well, to be honest, back then it was small. I was making it out of my home, and so I would go to the grocery store and just get what I needed for to get those orders fulfilled. And at the time, it seemed like a lot, but obviously looking back now, compared to my production, 8-9 years later, literally those were peanuts.
Yeah.
So I've come a long way. But that's how I got started. That's how you got started
back in Vancouver, and then doing that. I know we'll talk a little bit about that. My brother remembers seeing you in Vancouver. He goes, "Hey, and Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is such a small community that when you see another person from Saskatchewan, another city, it's like you bond." Right? And you're like, "Hey, it's Johannes from, Saskatoon," and doing that. Or Charleston, that when you're traveling around the country and you have that Ryder logo or, something like that, everybody kind of seems like they bond together like that and say, "Hey, you play on the Riders, you're a fan of the Riders, this, that." So that's awesome when you're doing that in Vancouver, Johannes, and then all of a sudden getting started like that. Then how did you decide to be able to bring that back here to Saskatchewan? Because, like you said, hummus in Saskatchewan doesn't roll off the tip of your tongue a lot, right? It's not one of these places where you're going, yeah, Saskatchewan's, famous for hummus, but we are becoming better known for our beans and our lentils.
Yeah, I was about to say lentils.
Yeah, lentil beans and that. So
here.
you're definitely in the right trend to be able to do that. But so how did you bring it here to Saskatchewan, and how did you get started here in Saskatoon?
Yeah, so Saskatchewan, most people don't realize this. We grow 80% of the chickpeas cultivated in the entire country. And so to be able to use a product that is homegrown here and manufacturing that is a blessing. Obviously, I could talk about that for a bit. But to answer your question, after, selling out of my home and people were, showing up at my doorstep and literally doing a transaction, I began approaching some local stores here in the city and just, I put together some basic packaging and, most places were not interested, but there was a couple stores that were interested that began carrying it. And so for a few years, it just remained a hobby. It was something that I was doing on the side. I used to teach yoga as a full-time. I used to also work as a sign language interpreter. So it was something that provided me joy and fulfillment, and I was enjoying it. And so then someone recommended that I attend this national trade show in 2014 in Vancouver. And it was really from that point on where I got serious with the business, and I decided to, try and brand Hanes Hummus the way I've been branding it over the years. And I've come a long way since then.
Yeah, definitely. No,
that's pretty cool. So what changed, about going to that trade show? What was the one key thing that you took from there that kind of, I guess, upgraded your thought process about, selling product?
Well, I was completely fresh and green. I didn't know anybody. All I knew was that I had an amazing product. I made the best hummus, and I was truly there because people encouraged me to be there. And so being at this national trade show, I was in a situation where the decision makers across the country were all congregated in basically, 60,000 square foot space. And it was an opportunity to see my potential. And that's really what the big takeaway from that was.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty good.
And so you're in Vancouver, you're at this trade show, you're thinking about the potential and doing that. You start off, now we'll talk a little bit about the name Hanes Hummus. Where did that come from?
Sure. So Hanes is my nickname, which comes from Yohannes. And so when I was trying to come up with what I should call my business, I obviously had a few other names, but I liked how it rolled off the tongue, Hanes Hummus. It came off the tongue nicely. And so I did some, locally here in Saskatchewan, some name searches, and there was nothing that had that.
Yeah.
And so I began operating as Hanes Hummus, and then I went to trademark Hanes Hummus in December of 2013, roughly. And that's when I got a cease and desist letter from Hanes Brand Incorporated, better known as Hanes Underwear. And
we were talking about that. We were talking about that to Charleston. I was like, I said to Charleston, I said, yeah, he got taken to court by Hanes Hummus. And he's like, by who? I said, Hanes Underwear. And he goes, that has nothing to do with each other. What are you gonna have?
It's like you're going up against a mega business to fight for your name, right? And then it's almost like you still use the Hanes T-shirt to make the Hanes Hummus brand. Just like you rub it in their face a little bit.
It's right. It's true. And I got my hats now, and I got my hoodies. So certainly at the time, like you said, Charleston, they are a mega corporation.
Yeah.
And I was fighting for my name, and we had a 2-year legal dispute, and obviously I got to keep the name, And that victory tasted almost as good as Haynes Hummus does. And, you know, and here I am. So that process was not easy. It cost me financially, but, you know, I had a lot of support from everybody here in Saskatchewan that saw that the absurdity that a clothing company that specializes in underwear and T-shirts and textiles was coming after a very, very small business that was in the food business. So completely different categories.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that really makes your story remarkable, Yohannes, is the fact that that you've been through so much, right? I mean, what I think about, this isn't your normal startup business plan where you're going, yeah, in about 3 or 4 years, I'm going to get sued by a national brand, an international brand, and you want to be able to go through that. There's so many bumps in the road that, you've had to be able to overcome, and doing that and get you to where you are today. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to tell your story, and we wanted to have you on it as a guest, because you're that Saskatchewan inspiration of not giving up and going against the big dog and winning. And what did that teach you when you're going there? It must have been stressful as fuck when you're going like, oh my God, I'm getting taken to court by this guy. I know how I'd feel, if somebody came after us, or, to do that for the Better With Age name. I'd be pissed off. I'd be, worried about where you're going to go, what you're going to do. How were you emotionally at that time? How were you dealing with stress?
Yeah, so you're right. It was incredibly stressful when I reached out to some lawyers here and in Alberta. Their advice was change your name because they're going to make your life miserable. Really? That was the advice I got. Yeah. But it didn't sit right with me that this company based in North Carolina with annual sales of $4 billion was coming after me. It didn't sit right. And the fact, like what they were saying was there would be brand confusion in the market. So essentially what they were accusing me of was if a customer walked into a grocery store or let's say a Walmart, and they would accidentally, they were meaning to buy, a T-shirt or some, or an underwear, and they would all of a sudden pick up a container of Haynes Hummus. That's what they were accusing me would happen, and it's absurd. It would never happen. Yeah, I don't usually go looking for, hummus in the underwear section, or vice versa. I'm sitting there eating, going to the charcuterie board and looking for, XL, Haynes underwear, tighty whities, to be able to get me by. That's right. So, I know now you can go ahead. Yeah. So basically, it didn't sit right with me, and then finally I spoke to a lawyer in California who's from Saskatoon originally, and his advice was tell them to go fuck themselves. Yeah, that's the guy I want to be with right there. That's the lawyer that I want. That's right. And from there, he initiated conversations with them. And so what it taught me was that if you're standing on solid ground, that it doesn't matter who your opponent is, you can win. And if you believe in what you're doing and how you're going to do it, and you have a good plan, then anything is possible. Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool, man. So whatever happened at that trade show that installed that business mindset into you, man, I'll need to go to that trade show.
No doubt.
All you got to do is hang around with Yohannes more to be able to see what kind of guy he is.
I done learned so much about him already. He's a yoga instructor, so he's flexible. He's good with his hands.
That's right. Yeah.
A man of many talents.
I appreciate that, brother.
See, I support that all the way. I supported it right from the start when Johann told me about you, because he told me, I got a black friend who owns a hummus company, so black-owned businesses, business owners, I support that anyways, especially because it's Saskatchewan, so there's probably not a lot of black-owned businesses around, but now that I know Haynes Hummus is around, hey, I'm supporting to the fullest.
That's right. No doubt. And just to Johann, I sent you a couple of those pictures last week with some of your former colleagues, Charleston. Darian Durant, long time ago, I hooked him up with some Haynes hummus, as well as Mike Pinball Clemens. So just make sure that he shows you those photos.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had Clemens on the show before too, so now he's my coach. So my GM,
yeah.
not my coach,
Your
but my
boss.
GM. So hey, yeah.
So you
We'll
get a
have
lot
him
of
on there.
support. So then, Johannes, how's it been going here in Saskatchewan? How's the support been for you locally at the stores? How hard has it been to be able to get into some of these stores too? Because I know probably you're going to gain success in some of the one-off stores, like here in Regina. You're going to gain success at maybe a place like Lakeview Fine Foods that, you know, has other supports, local brands and things like that. But how are you doing in the marketplace here in Saskatchewan when you're going against some of the bigger competitors in the hummus industry, as well as you're walking into a co-op, you know, that they have 120 stores in Alberta, or they have how many here in Saskatchewan? How's that support been with some of those bigger stores like the co-ops and the Sobeys, the Safeways? How's that going?
So the grocery business is no joke, and getting into these retailers, you know, including some of the ones you just mentioned, the Save On Foods, the Sobeys, co-ops, it's a difficult process, and it's been a process where I've gotten to where I've gotten to because of my tenacity and perseverance, not because these retailers have big open arms saying, oh yeah, we want to support, you know, we want to support you. It hasn't been that way. And so once your product gets onto the shelf, that's really when the heavy lifting begins, as far as, you know, the product has to sell. I know that I have good support here in Saskatchewan with all of the retailers, including the ones you mentioned, and then some of the smaller independents. So the challenges are getting into the store and then working with the stores, making sure that they're merchandising your product in a way that it's going to be easy for the customers to find. Because what usually happens is the large national brands, they dominate the shelf space. So it's very easy for customers to find those brands because they take up so much space.
Yeah.
And so as a smaller brand, my success depends on the merchandising at the store level. So whether the people that are working there, how well do they look after not only my product, but other local products at store level? If they do their job, then it's going to be easy, and it has been easy for the customers to find it, and you know, it helps with the sales. So things have been generally really positive here in Saskatchewan. That's for sure.
So now that you said that, with the way you know the Sobeys, or the way that whatever grocery store it is, on how they handle your product, who are the places that handle the product that are better than the others? So is Safeway better than with product handling better than Sobeys?
Well, you know, I gotta stick handle that one carefully.
Yeah. They're all good is the correct answer.
Well, they're all good is the correct answer. But in all fairness, to your question, is each store is owned and operated independently. And so while you may have one banner like a Sobeys or a Safeway or a co-op that looks after me really well, I've experienced under the same banner a store that will not treat me with the same respect personally and also within the business. So it depends on the individual store.
Wow. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
What I'd like to be able to do is, Johannes, we're going to take a little bit of a commercial break. Well, once we get back, I want to be able to talk a little bit more about what makes your product unique versus those other guys. And two, what can we do as consumers to be able to help promote you? The Saskatchewan guide that has literally gone against the biggest, competitors, and that is going against the biggest competitors. You beat Hanes Underwear. We want to be able to keep on helping you to grow and grow and grow. So I want to get into that after this break. But we'll be right back after this with Mr. Yohannes Petros, Mr. Hanes Hummus.
Yeah, hummus. Every time you mention that, people just say, I love hummus.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Rob Peterson. I'm the broker owner of Realty One in Regina. Real estate and life is about great people, and that's why I'm associated with Charleston Hughes and Johann Zielinski and IKS to sponsor the Better with Age podcast. Realty One was founded in Regina 11 years ago. It's an independent brokerage, it's local, and it's full of great people helping great local Regina people buy and sell properties. It's entrepreneurial based, which means you have non-narcissistic agents that have your best interest in mind, not their own. In these coronavirus times, real estate market right now in Regina and Saskatchewan is thriving because people are thinking more local. They're not thinking about traveling because we can't, and that's driving our market. When you hire a realtor, no matter who it is, no matter what company, please interview them. Please make sure they're a good personal fit for you, because that's what this is all about. It's good people connecting themselves with someone that they know has their best interest in mind. And that's what the Realty One family does, and that's what a lot of agents in Regina do. But make sure you take your time and find the best fit for you and your family.
It's that time of year when divisions are decided, champions are crowned, and legends are born. Now, it's your turn to win big. You've heard the name just about everywhere, MyBookie. They're the industry's leading online sportsbook and casino, and it's not hard to understand why. With thousands of lines to bet on all your favorite sports, NFL, NBA, and college ball. Check, check, and check. MMA and soccer, they've got all the latest odds, period. Take advantage of MyBookie's prop builder and live in-game betting, where every single run, throw, and touchdown is another chance for you to put cash in your pocket. Visit their mobile-friendly website today and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. Just use the promo code when you make your first deposit. The best part is they make it simple, with a variety of ways to deposit instantly, including credit card, bank transfer, Bitcoin, and more. Whether you're at home or on the go, on your laptop or on your phone, it's not too late to make your New Year's resolution a resolution to get paid. Bet, win, and get paid at MyBookie.
And we're back.
All right, we're back with Mr. Hummus, Mr. Saskatchewan, Yohannes Petros from Hanes Hummus.
You got to talk to me about this
Yeah,
stuff, man. I'm
everybody.
sitting there looking at all these flavors
Charleston.
down here. I almost opened one, cracked one open, and stuck my finger in it just to get a taste.
Charleston's-
Like a nice little healthy scoop.
He's looking for chips for anything around here to be able to dig into, to be able to do that, but you'll be able to try some later. Yohannes, let's talk about the product. Let's talk about what's in front of us. Let's talk about what makes your products different. I want to know about how educate us, man.
I need to know what's
Yeah.
I don't need to know what's in it, but I need to know the process. Like, how does it taste? What's going on? What kind of products you using? This hot date looking real hot and good to me.
Yes. all right. I can do that. So it comes down to the taste. Hanes hummus does not taste like conventional hummus. And what I mean by conventional hummus is all of the other brands that are out there are mass produced. So you don't have to be a hummus person to appreciate the taste of Hanes hummus, because it's so good. The second thing that is unique about it is the texture. So my hummus it's thicker than the mass produced brands. So what the mass produced brands do to lower their cost is they add a ton of canola oil and water. So I don't add any oil, no water to mine. And the last thing is its freshness. It tastes homemade, although it's not homemade. And so, the taste, the texture, and its freshness is really what makes it stand out. And from the beginning up until now, people, when they've had an opportunity to try Hanes hummus, they know they're trying something that is wholesome, that is real, and that is unmistakably, not mass produced. it's clear.
You know, and that's something that we all should be able to resonate now with. That is the fact that
make me feel bad.
We're trying to be able to right now. I think in today's age, even the alcohol industry, which I'm in, everybody's talking about doing something better for your body, healthier, right? To be able to eat something that's pure, right? Wholesome, pure in that. And here you're getting the same kind of thing, right? You're having products, ingredients that are, like you said, 80% of the chickpeas come from Saskatchewan and that are sold throughout the world?
Correct.
That I would have never, ever guessed.
I knew that. I
really?
actually knew that. Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
So this is a product that you could be able to, obviously you're very proud of it. And that's a product that I'd want, is that I want to be able to teach my kids, my boys, to be able to eat products that are going to be able to be more, you know, nutritious and that are wholesome,
100%.
right? And that also they're from Saskatchewan. This stuff is going right here. That's helping the community here in Saskatchewan.
And I feel like it's good timing almost, because even, you know, during this whole pandemic and everything, you know, I felt like it made people more aware of, you know, what they consume and what they put in their body. And it made people like way more conscious, like health conscious. I think that's what it did for a lot of people. So with something like this that's, you know, made from, you know, fresh and, you know, farm grown ingredients, and everything is, you know, very, I guess, particular about what you put in it and in the process and how it's made. I mean, I've been eating crappy and shitty hummus all my life now. Now I know that.
Now you're educated.
I'm educated. I need the premium now.
So what's your favorite then? Tell us a little bit about these. We have 3 of them right in front of us, but how many do you have in your line?
Those are the 3. Those are the 3. And as a small business, trying to get, you know, a space on the grocery shelves, it's better to not have, you know, a ton of product.
Okay.
You want to stay lean.
Yep.
So the 3 flavors that I have are Moroccan 7 spice, roasted garlic and dill, and hot date. They're all delicious. If you get a chance to try all of them, please do so. The roasted garlic and dill in Saskatchewan is the most popular. You know, anything with dill sells.
Yeah, I was going to say that, man. Saskatchewan's even got a vodka with the Dill Pickle here that's made it popular. So, of course, dill's got to be your #1 seller.
Yeah. Indeed. But they're all delicious. And so, you know, anybody watching this, if you ever get a chance to try all of them, I encourage you to do so.
What's, okay, so then the hot date. Can you tell us about that hot profile a little bit? Because
that's the one I'm over here licking my chops for, because I like spice. I like stuff with a lot of heat in it.
Sure. So the hot date it's a balance between sweet and spicy. So it has dates. So on the front end of your palate, it begins sweet, and then it finishes with a touch of heat at the end. So it's not as hot as the name implies, but it's definitely there, and that is it right there.
That sounds...
The Moroccan 7...
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that sounds like Charleston's date nights with his wife. Sweet in the beginning, hot in the end, and be able to do that. The romantic himself and be able to do that. Yeah, all right. And then, Kay, tell us about the last one.
And then the Moroccan 7 spice was my first recipe that I put out onto the market. It used to be called the Original. And then a couple years ago, I changed the name to Moroccan 7 Spice because it wasn't performing as well at retail. People, if they saw the Original, would often think that it implied that it was plain, and it wasn't. This is a complex recipe. It is hard to taste, to know what you're tasting, because there's so many layers to it. If I had to choose one flavor out of the 3 that I'm most proud of, it would be Moroccan 7 Spice, because that's the one that got the party started. That's the one that got everybody hooked. And, you know, if you were to try just one of them, I would suggest you try that one, because it'll really give you an idea of how different it is from all of the other hummus out there. Okay,
now I want to know then, Yohannes, say this, I'm going into my, so I shop at Real Canadian Superstore, because it's close to my place. I also go to Save On, which is where I purchased these ones. So I go to a few stores, but what happens What do you suggest? What do you tell your friends? What do you tell us here in Saskatchewan or throughout Canada that they want to be able to get this product in? How can we help you out there? Other than going to your website and be able to try to do that, is there a way that for the people here in Saskatchewan or throughout Canada, North America, to be able to start to request this when they go into a store? Say, hey, I saw this great hummus, and is that a good way to be able to get the name going? Or what do you suggest to your friends when they say, hey man, how do I get this?
Great question, Johann. I'm so glad you asked. So this is a conversation that I have often with customers who reach out to me through my social media or who send me an email and will say, I went into this store, I used to be able to buy it here, it's no longer there, or I've gone to a particular retailer and I've spoken about your product. And this is what I encourage all of you to do, is to speak to the store manager or the store owner directly and tell them you want to see the product, because ultimately the consumers are the real CEOs. And if a store manager is hearing from enough people about a particular product or service, they have to take that into consideration. They may not flip the switch and place an order the next day, but with what I'm doing on my end and consumers on their end requesting it and demanding it, that is necessary. And so you have to be persistent as well in demanding, whether it's Hanes hummus or any other local product.
Yeah, I don't
think people really realize that. A lot of people don't even think like that. Like if you want to see something in the store, to go and ask for it. But that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just to even know that.
Yeah.
Whether it's to get Hanes hummus or not, but to even know that alone, that you want to see something in the store, you can actually throw it out there.
I know that I'm guilty of being too polite at times. When you go into a store, if they don't have it, I kind of think about, I won't bother asking because I don't want to, be rude or do that. But that's not. We have to go. No. We have to start to think about it in the mentality of, we got to start supporting these guys like yourself. That are it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, right? Mm-hmm. Like it is a grind. I know that we were talking last week, Johannes, and man, you do so many things. You got your owner hat on right now, but you're also the sales guy, you're the accountant, you're the marketing guy, you're the social media guy. And it's with guys it's guys like you that go out in the community and are always looking to be able to support local. You do enough supporting that way. We have to start to think about giving back to you and to be able to go out and buy products.
To me, that's the best way to support is go in there and demand. Go in there and make a demand. Go in there and demand it. Say you want to see it on the shelf.
Yeah,
completely. And it, but in supporting me, you're not just supporting what it is that I'm doing. You're supporting the farmers whose chickpeas I'm using in my product. You're supporting a place like the Saskatchewan Abilities Council, who supports adults with intellectual disabilities. I get them to put my labels on. So you're supporting, when you support local, when you support Hanes hummus, it's not just me. You're supporting literally thousands of families right here in Saskatchewan. When you purchase hummus from a national brand like Sabra, you're supporting Pepsi Cola. Yeah. They don't need another fucking dime.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
So repeat that again. You said you get who to put the labels on? So you're working with
Sask Abilities.
Sask Abilities Council. So they work with adults that have intellectual and physical disabilities. Mm-hmm. And that's who I employ to put my labels on my containers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
In supporting a small business like me, you're literally supporting
our
thousands
neighbors.
of families.
Yeah, our neighbors are, all the farmers that we see are across Saskatchewan here with all those ingredients you're using. That's awesome. So you're located, Johannes, in Saskatoon. I know you have a facility in Saskatoon, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. And so how can we do?
But this is my office.
Yeah, that's your office,
Yeah,
your boardroom, everything, your
right.
sales pitch,
That's
right
right.
on. Yeah,
That's right.
kind of like us. Yeah, for sure. So tell us a little bit about your social media. Let's what's the best way that we can find out more about your social media? I know that you kind of
You love Trump?
Yeah, you hit a nerve politically.
Whatever the opposite of that is.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of that?
Hate, not hate. I don't think he has a hot
anti-Trump.
Anti-Trump.
Anti-Trump. There you go.
Well, we can maybe talk about that a little bit. But you're very, you're very proud, and you're a very. You stand behind your beliefs and everything that you do, and you can see that as a person and as a businessman, and then do that. And tell us a little bit about how your social media has been going, and how you had a little bit of a reaction from some people over, about a month ago when there's all that political strife down in Washington that I know that caused a little bit of controversy on your social media.
Sure. So if you're looking for Haynes Hummus on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, my handle is very simple. It's at Haynes Hummus. I do all of my social media marketing is all on me. If you look at any of my posts, you'll see where I'm talking, doing videos. Obviously, I will support other local Saskatchewan businesses as well. But it's all on me. So it's at Haynes Hummus. And to your point about what happened about 6 or 7 weeks ago in response to the Capitol riots, I made a post that upset, some Trump supporters. And I did it from my Facebook business page as well as on my Instagram business page. And it was important for me to, put my money where my mouth was, in letting people know that as a black man living in Saskatchewan, the issues of race and racism are not unique to the United States. Saskatchewan has a deep history, a quiet history of racism that is very much alive today, and it was important for me to speak out. I've built a platform with my business, and I have a lot of people that look to me to speak up, and that's what I did. And the amount of love that I received versus the amount of hate was greater, and I will continue to speak up when it's important to do so.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I think about you, Johannes, is your integrity is unbelievable. You're just a man of great character. I've always respected of that. We've known each other for many, many years. I won't say how many years because we're getting a little old and be able to do that. But
No doubt.
We grew up when we were kids, and it was funny how now our paths have crossed again, and we're able to hopefully help you out. So that's awesome. So now we can find all about your products, about your business, how you're doing on the social media. You're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook?
Indeed. And you can also look me up on my website, haineshummus.com.
Well, it was
That's
really
pretty good, man. I like the way you put all that, especially with that comment that you just made. Just having to stand behind and put your money where your mouth is, really. And if you're gonna make a comment like that, you got to stand up and really define who you are and let everybody know that. So, I mean, just like Johann said, you could tell you're a very prideful person. I get that kind of energy. I get the energy when I look at the hummus and then I see that beautiful smile right on the package. And I'm like, a lot of people are scared to stand behind their brand and show your face. A lot of people, a lot of people are afraid to do something like that. So when they put the brand out there and they post it, they just want just the word out there, and I'll stand in the background somewhere in the shadows. I like the way you put it on there. You put your face on there. You put like I said, your beautiful smile on there, and made it well known that this is my product, this is my face, and this is who made it.
You own it well, brother. You own it well.
Thank you so much. And that's what it's about, right? Is when I first started, the packaging didn't look the way it does now. And deciding to put my photo on there was just that. It's a stamp. This is who makes it. And so I stand behind it 100.
That's awesome. Well, Johannes, thank you very much for joining us today. It's, every time I see you, like Charleston says, we see that beautiful smile. I'm always glad to be able to run into you. I know when I saw you last week in Saskatoon, it was nothing but hugs and it was good times and laughters. But good luck with everything you're doing. Everybody that's watching, the U.S., Canada, all throughout here in Saskatchewan, get your Haynes Hummus. Go out there and support this man.
Order. Flood his order sheet right now. Flood them.
Yeah.
Just
show him some
them.
love. Johannes, all the best to you. We always end the show with Charleston's wise words, so I'll turn it over to Charleston to close out the show.
No, that's awesome, man. It was great hearing about this. I can't wait till you just give us the hummus class. Whenever you want to make the next batch, so we can just sit back and just watch and teach us how to make it. Well, not make your brand, but just make hummus in general, right? But that'll be awesome.
Indeed.
But
thank you.
This is the Better with Age webcast show, man, and we're happy to have you on the show. And there's many things that get better with age, man. And the one thing that gets better with age, out of everything, is friendships. And now that you're a friend of Johann, you're a friend of the Better with Age crew. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much to both of you for having me on. This means a lot to me. Connecting with your audience and Charleston. One day, I'll give you a nice squeeze as well in person.
We'll have to get him some hummus out in TO.
Yeah.
Make sure he'll be your number one supporter out in TO there soon.
I'm about to crack these jars open right now.
Yes, you are.
All right, Johannes, all the best to you. Nothing but peace and love.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, man.
Thank you. You too.